Yabusele, Moses Moody, UD, did you ever have a teammate that you just couldn't get their name quite right?
No, but people used to always mess up my name, and it used to get on my damn nerves, so I know how I feel when they can never get your name right.
What do you mean they'd mess up Udonis? Udonis?
Yeah, Udonis. I've been called I've been called everything. Hasselman.
Oh, man. We need to start working on some people's pronunciations here. Next up, Kyrie Irving finding different ways to stay busy this summer.
2016 champion.
Irving, fake.
Y'all will never see
Tonight for Brooklyn, as Casey pointed out at halftime.
2016 champion, absolutely correct. Iman, you ever watch highlights of yourself during the summer?
Oh, yeah. I know that probably was funny for everybody, but me and Kyrie watch a ton of YouTube highlights. Like, in order for me to actually go against you and hate you, I have to be a fan.
But do you watch yourself?
Yeah.
You watch yourself?
Gotta get better. Gotta get better. I mean, I don't watch as many highlights as Kyrie. I ain't had a ball all game. Tell Kyrie to pass it a little bit more.
There's nothing wrong with wanting to improve, to see some highlights of yourself. Also, you got to pump yourself up sometimes. I get it. The NBA 2K26 Summer League, it rolls on tonight. The Pacers and the Pelicans square off at the Pavilion. Our coverage begins at 9 Eastern on ESPN and ESPN+. We do, though, have some breaking news out of Vegas. We're going to bring back our senior insider, Shams Charania. Shams, what is the latest here out of New Orleans?
Malika, Pelicans lottery pick Derek Queen has undergone surgery to repair a torn ligament in his left wrist. He will be reevaluated in 12 weeks. He's averaged 14 points, 11 rebounds so far in Summer League, but now this is an injury that's going to sideline him into training camp, potentially into the regular season in his rookie season. And remember, the Pelicans moved up 10 slots in the NBA draft from 23 to 13, and they gave up a unprotected first-round pick for 2026, their own or Milwaukee's, in that trade to move up 10 slots for Derek Queen. They think very highly of him. His rookie season looks like it will be at least a little bit cut into with this injury.
Yeah, and that's a really valuable pick they gave up here, looking at the depth of this 2026 draft. Shams, while we have you here, we know there's also, Summer League is also a time for a lot of wheeling and dealing. What else are you following out of Las Vegas right now?
Malika, executives in Las Vegas we're closely watching and monitoring the future and status of Atlanta's Trae Young. He has 2 years left on his deal this upcoming season, but he has a player option in 2026. He can be a free agent next summer. It's going to be a much more flush market in free agency coming up. And listen, this is an Atlanta Hawks team that has made a ton of moves this offseason, got Kristaps Porzingis. They can go several different directions with this team. They have a rising young team. They have guys like Jalen Johnson, Zachary Risache. But the Hawks want to see how this team looks. Both Trae Young and Kristaps Porzingis are extension eligible. But Trae Young, by all accounts, I'm told, is locked in. He's excited about this team. He really believes this team is as close to that team several years ago. They made it to the conference finals in the East. He's excited, but I do know Trae Young a little bit, and I know once he gets into the season, he wants to focus on that season. So if there is no extension, we're into the regular season, I would not be surprised if he just waits until the 2026 summer before any decisions on his future.
Yeah, you and I have been talking about that focus, that renewed focus that Trae Young has, not going to the Jordan party with other Jordan athletes and instead being in Las Vegas, seeing his teammates working out, those sorts of little things. At times, Trae Young's leadership over the years has been questioned, and I really think this summer we've seen several instances of him really rising to the occasion. Shams, thank you so much for that insight and that reporting. I want to bring in Mr. Money Moves, Bobby Marks here, because whenever we're talking about contract negotiations, I need you to weigh in here, Bobby. How would you approach this with Trae Young?
I would approach it with an extension, but not at the 4 for 222 number here.
Okay.
I think we're in a day and age of roster building where you have to be extremely careful when you hand out max contracts where you're averaging out $55 million. And Trae Young is certainly an all-star level player. I'm not putting him up there in a top 15, maybe even top 20 in the NBA here. And I think I want to see how this roster develops. They certainly went out and got Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Luke Kennard, Kristaps Porzingis. They drafted Asa Newell. Dyson Daniels is also up for an extension here. I'm waiting out this season here. I'm offering him something, but it's not going to be at that 4 for 222 number.
Interesting. Do you think that that's the number that's a little too high for Trae? I don't like to count people's money.
Yeah, I don't either. But I think back on that quote that I was talking about when Kevin Durant said he thinks the 6-foot point guard might be coming to an end.
Oh, yeah, when he was on Mind the Game.
And this is what I think he was talking about, where you're saying, yes, Trae Young, statistically, what he brings to a game of basketball, I get it. At 6'2"?
6'3".
6'2", 6'3". It's tough to say, can he switch on to a 5 at the end of the game? Can he guard a bigger guard? Can he, what are the other things that he can do besides score it? Can he make a 2-guard a scoring champion? Those are the things that we're thinking about and we're looking at when we're thinking of a smaller guard. You're thinking of a guy that can get guys going, that could pitch ahead, especially after seeing OKC and Indiana in the finals. You have to be thinking we have to change our game and change our style a little bit to make sure that we're pitching ahead, we're moving the baton, and we're making sure the other guys are getting off. If you don't have 3 or 4 guys that are weapons on your team, if there's only one head to cut off the snake, then it's going to be a tough day for him.
Basketball Reference is saying 6'1" here for Trae Young. Udonis, how are you looking at this?
I mean, I see Trae Young as a max talent. When you look at guys like Jalen Brunson and those guys, I see Trae Young as a max talent. This is a guy who hasn't averaged less than 24 the last 3 years. And by the way, he's either led the league in total assists or assists per game. So you can see how much of their offense that they are accounted for. When you look at what they've done, when they put Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who's a great two-way player. You got Dyson Daniels, who was one of the top defensive players of the year last year, also most improved. You got Caleb Houston. We talked about what they do in Canada and those guys having something in Canada. This is a guy who shot over 50% last year, the second half of the season after All-Star break. You got Porzingis, who's a guy who can be a matchup problem offensively, shoot the 3, and also be a rim protector. So, yes, he's not going to be a guy that Trae is going to switch on, but you've put enough pieces and enough defense around him where you can protect Trae Young. The question with Trae Young is he going to show up an hour before practice? Is he going to stay 2 hours late after practice? Those guys in that locker room and in that organization have to believe that it is just as important to Trae Young as anybody else. If it's important to Trae Young, it will be important to everybody else in that locker room. That's where I think the separation is for Trae Young. How important is it, and can he lead this team to a championship and be that leader and that guy that's accountable? That's where he falls short. That's what he's working on. I love the fact that he didn't take the Jordan tour and he was there this year. That's the only thing I see him falling short of. But when you look at the numbers, you can put Trae Young numbers right up next to Jalen Brunson and all those guys, and his numbers will equal out.
Without a doubt. I second all the things that he said. I think that it's going to have to be a decision in Trae's mind of what does he want to be remembered for.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you have shown us all your gifts. You've shown us what you can do. And now to win and take the next step, that's where the breakdown of film has to be a little bit different. And we just want to see him take that next step. It's not that we don't care about the backs, but it's like if you got to take a couple million less, take a couple million less, make sure your team is good, and keep playing where you want to play.
I also think that he has a real opportunity to do that this year differently than we've seen since they were able to in 2021, right? Because I sat down with Tyrese Halliburton in the NBA Finals, and we're certainly hoping to see him back on the floor soon. He said something, he didn't mean it as a diss. He just meant it as a fact. He said that after we made it to as far as we did in the playoffs 2 seasons ago, people looked at us and said, are we the Atlanta Hawks from 2021, or are we going to prove that this was not a fluke and we're going to get back there? The Atlanta Hawks have an opportunity to prove that they're still a team that's formidable, especially in an Eastern Conference that really is as wide open as I have seen. So if Trae Young and this Atlanta Hawks team, they've done an excellent job this summer, is able to maybe throw a punch in that Eastern Conference conversation, then it's going to be something really interesting to talk about, especially because, as Shams just said, Trae Young may wait if something is not done before the season. All right, we've been saying and saving the best quotes of the week just for today. It's time for a little Who Said That. Iman, it's your first time playing. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Woo-hoo-hoo. That's next.